Hey guys, what's going on? Paul here. Welcome back to another Cardano video. So today I have Sebastian back with me again from DC Spark to talk all about what they have been working on lately and getting into talking more about layer ones, layer twos, sidechains. It's going a lot bigger of a narrative right now. So we'll get into that and dive a bit deeper into why people would launch on them versus a layer one and some of the advantages of that as well. Sebastian, thanks very much for taking the time.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. There's been a lot of updates at DC Spark. As you might have seen, we're announcing new projects fairly often, so it's definitely keeping me busy. But it's great to be, contributing so much to the ecosystem.
Yeah, there always seems to be something new coming out of DC Spark. A lot of really good stuff for the Cardano side. Anyway, I follow that a lot more. I know you have Milkomeda on Algorand as well. It's something I need to dive deeper into as well. I haven't had the chance to do that much yet. Also, the gaming side, we have recorded a video. It will be out before this one, talking all about Paima Studios and everything you're doing on the gaming side. So I will leave a link to that one down below for people who are interested in that side of things as well. But on a high level, what's been happening with DC Spark?
Yeah, so DC Spark, as for people who don't know, it's a crypto ecosystem builder company. So what we noticed, so you're on the same page, is that there's been a lot of companies that apply, for example, for treasury funding. They're kind of mercenary-like. They come in, they get a grant request, they build something, they walk away, and that's it. And the whole vision of DC Spark was, we really needed a company that's able to, build public goods for blockchains, build ecosystems for blockchains, and not just walk away, but really, double down and stick around and keep growing these ecosystems, build products, and really help grow as a community. And so that's the kind of company we tried to build. As we've done this, we're trying to aim to really build the whole ecosystem, not just like an NFT marketplace, not just a DEX. We're not like a single product company. We wanted to kind of span the whole ecosystem, which is why you've seen so many different contributions from DC Spark on like core Cardano, developer tooling, user-facing projects, sidechains like Milkomeda. Like the reason it's such a broad scope is because, our real vision was that we need a company out there that's, really building out the full chain, the end-to-end experience, of the ecosystem. And so that's been our vision.
Great. Yeah, I seen something actually in the last few days that Flint, the latest update of Flint, which is the wallet that DC Spark has built. It's the wallet I use actually on my mobile. I find it the easiest for me now. It has a new upgrade that allows your Milkomeda assets to be in the wallet now as well. Are we far away from replacing MetaMask with Flint?
Yeah, I hope so. So, the idea of Flint is that as a company, we've contributed a lot to developer tooling. We've contributed a lot to indexers, SDKs, CIPs, all this kind of stuff. And Flint Wallet is really kind of like the front end for all the stuff we're building. And of course, Flint Wallet definitely uses all the tools we build, the SDKs we've built, the CIPs we've written. But they're also used by many other wallets out there in the ecosystem, Nami, Eternal. A lot of these other wallets are also using stuff that we've built. And so the goal of Flint is not just build for us, but build for everybody. And so we open source all the SDKs, the backends, all this kind of stuff as we build it. And the latest thing we've added is Wallet Connect support. So by the time this video comes out, probably we'll have the kind of first proof of concept out. But we won't have like a full dApp that really connects to it. And that's kind of the next part. And then next we'll be giving grants to other wallets to build that integration. So as I mentioned, it's not just for us to add Wallet Connect. We're building the first version and then giving grants to other wallets for them to, really contribute to the ecosystem in their own way. And the other thing we added is Milkomeda C1 support. So you can now send assets from the Milkomeda sidechain directly from your Cardano wallet. And for those who don't know, the interesting thing about Milkomeda is that it adds EVM to support to Cardano without adding a new token. So you can just use your ADA as is to interact with EVM, Solidity smart contracts. So it really extends the amount of use cases you can access from your ADA. And so all this Milkomeda infrastructure we're building, we're going to be open sourcing that as we go to allow any other wallet that wants to, join the ecosystem to also build their own integrations.
Okay, great. And in terms of Milkomeda, before we get into sidechains and L1s and everything, what does the future look like for it?
Yeah, so we have quite a few features on the horizon. one of the biggest things that's happening right now is Paima Studios, which is a separate company that's building out games as a whole game engine. And as you mentioned, we have a separate video about that for anybody interested. And we were looking at the Cardano community, and we noticed that Cardano is currently number 3 in the world for NFT volume, right? So clearly, there's a lot of retail interest in NFTs in the Cardano ecosystem. And a lot of these projects in the Cardano ecosystem want to build games, but it's currently very hard to build that, like a full on-chain game in the Cardano ecosystem. And so we built a whole layer 2 solution to really enable having, on-chain games with NFTs that can evolve over time. That's the whole vision of Paima Studios. And we're powering all that through the Milkomeda project, and then exposing that to Cardano users directly through, for example, Flint wallet. And we're going to be adding support for that. All the SDKs required to add support for that in Nami, Eternal, and all these other wallets, so that not only will Cardano be third largest for NFTs, but also be, hopefully, if we do everything right, it'll also be one of the top, if not the top games blockchains for games as well.
Okay, sounds good. And yeah, the link to that video is down below as well for anyone interested in the gaming side. And so Sidechains, we're starting to see a lot more talk since, I suppose, Scottfest last year and the summit with Cardano. It was announced about Sidechains are going to be getting bigger. We heard Midnight was announced, and there was the toolkit come out as well. But before we dive into that, can you talk about why someone might build on a layer 1 or layer 2? You have a good video on that one that I'll put below as well. But can you give someone a high level? And actually, layer 2 versus Sidechain is probably a good place to start. Layer 2 versus Sidechain, what are they? I know you've been asked this question a lot of times, but just for people who are watching new, and then we'll get into why one of them versus a layer 1.
Yeah, so that's a great question. So imagine you're a dApp developer, right? You maybe are new to the blockchain ecosystem. You've never developed anything on the blockchain. What you want to have to enable your idea to come to life is as much flexibility as possible. You'd like to be able to use whatever programming language you want, whatever system you want, whatever mechanism you want. You want the full flexibility to really unlock your vision. However, you also need users. You need the ecosystem. So although maybe you'd like to have your whole application in Rust or C++ or whatever programming language, you have to compromise with the fact that, users are currently on Cardano, for example. And so you want to maximize your flexibility while also having enough network effect for your project to really take off and build a successful business. So if you're new to the blockchain ecosystem, if you can't just spin up your own blockchain because nobody's going to come to you, right? So your choice is usually to build on Cardano directly, because then you have access to the most users. But as your application grows, you may hit some scalability barriers. You may accrue enough users to split off and have your own community. And we've seen this happen with quite a few different dApps in the Ethereum ecosystem as well. And so the question of, what is the best place to deploy your app to kind of evolves over time. And so currently in the current blockchain ecosystem, usually the best place to deploy your application right now is layer 2 solutions. Why? Layer 2s inherit the security of layer 1. So by deploying, for example, to a layer 2 on Cardano or a layer 2 on Ethereum, you inherit the security of the underlying blockchain. So you don't have to rebuild your own security model. And if you're still using ADA, then you still have the ADA asset. There's no new token you have to try and get listed on exchange and so on. And so layer 2 solutions give you a lot of flexibility, but allow you to keep the security and keep the token and build out your user base that way. However, layer 2s are not some magical bullet that give you everything you want. There's cases where you imagine you're trying to build a Twitter for blockchain. Realistically, it's too big of an application to be entirely secured on the Cardano layer 1. There's just too much data involved, too much transactions. If every tweet is a transaction, there's just too much data. And so you want to do is you want something that's more flexible, right? And a sidechain is kind of an interesting model for that, because then you can have a separate blockchain that has its own flexibility, its own rules, its own programming language. You can have whatever other system you want, but you can still somehow connect that to Cardano and still inherit some security, some benefit from that ecosystem. And so when you're trying to decide, which place to deploy your application, I'd say in the majority of the cases, the layer 2 is the best place to start. but depending on your application, it may make sense for you to go that sidechain direction or to deploy your own blockchain entirely. And being able to provide the best environment for the projects is really what most blockchains are competing on right now.
Yeah, I suppose some people see a project moving to a layer 2 or a sidechain and think they're leaving Cardano, and why are they leaving? But not to me, not everything needs to be on the layer 1. As you've talked about there, you can inherit aspects of the layer 1, and still some of it can be settled on the L1 as well, depending on, we don't have roll-ups in Cardano right now. It's a fairly big topic across different blockchains. Some blockchains do have it already, and I think in time, hopefully, well, you're the person to ask, will we have roll-ups on Cardano as well? And what will that do for the space in terms of utilizing security for layer 2 sidechains back up to the layer 1?
Yeah, this is definitely something that we're interested in. Obviously, it's a very big research agenda to work on these problems. If you look at, for example, Ethereum ecosystems, the amount of money that's been spent on building layer 2 infrastructure is probably in the hundreds of millions of dollars. So it's quite a lot of money has got into this, if not billions. And so obviously in Cardano, we're not quite at that level of adoption, but we're not that far off. And so, at DC Spark, we're, building what we can with the current ecosystem, innovating where we can. So Milkomeda is the first, EVM sidechain for Cardano, and we brought that to market. We're bringing new features like the Wrap smart contract, so you can call EVM contracts directly from your Cardano wallet. We're bringing staking support to the EVM sidechain, so you can earn your staking rewards while using a sidechain. So we're bringing a lot of innovation where we can at the moment, while also, making progress on the kind of longer term goals. And so for questions like, when will we have a ZK rollup on Cardano? This is definitely something that we're looking into. We have a ZK team at DC Spark, but also this is kind of a complex roadmap. And, DC Spark as a company is not like how should I say it? Like it's a company where we are making proposals to the community. We have support from the community, and then with that money, we build stuff. And so almost all the work we do is about at cost. So we don't really have like the funding to be like, all right, let's put $100 million to like just build out this awesome ZK roller for Cardano. What we do instead is we try and like take a bit of money here, take a bit of money here there to like put something together and make some progress. Because the important thing is some progress is being made, and we do the best that we can do with our resources and with the support of the community.
Yeah, it's an expensive space. When you look across some of the funding rounds that some of the research companies have had over on Ethereum looking into ZK rollups and everything, and you're up into the hundreds of millions of dollars being spent on the space. So it's something hopefully we will be able to learn from parts of the research they do. If it's open source, you're very good at open sourcing lots of what you build for the community as well, and that really helps innovation, helps other projects build. They can take part of, especially in around the wallets, that what you've done, people can take some of what you have there and use it in their own applications as well. In terms of people on the layer 1 on Cardano right now, input endorsers, stuff like that will help. Throughput, finality is something hopefully that will help in time. But layer 2s or sidechains, that's where you can configure them types of parameters, and have some applications will need faster finality. And finality for anyone is just how soon the block is, or how soon the transaction is confirmed that it can't actually be rolled back and undone. But where do you see, or what's your thoughts on Cardano right now versus where we're hoping to go in the future? How do you see the progress?
Yeah, so obviously Cardano has multiple things in the roadmap, as you mentioned. So there's some stuff that IOG is planning to do, like Hydra, which is a layer 2 state channel solution, like Midnight, which is a ZK sidechain, and Leos, which is the new version of Ouroboros that they're working on to increase throughput. So there's definitely a lot of projects going on from the IOG side. DC Spark is contributing, as you mentioned, in multiple ways as well through various SDKs and contributions to the blockchain as well. And there's quite a bit of other, like quite a lot of other companies as well, contributing to the ecosystem their own way. So I think one thing that's always been the strong suit of Cardano is a strong, passionate community right? DC Spark never received a single dollar from the Cardano pre-sale, but we're building all this stuff for the community because we care and we're here. And a lot of other companies feel that way, and they're contributing, because they care about the project and the philosophy and what it all means. And so, the goal is to enable those people to take their passion and turn that into products. And, Cardano has, taken time to get there because we only had the smart contract support about a year and a half ago, something like that. Now I lost track of time of these things. But, it's fairly new in the grand scope of things. With all the, tools coming out, I think building on Cardano will keep getting easier. For example, like, when smart contracts came out, building a smart contract was like nearly impossible. I mean, the release of smart contracts on Cardano is not meant to be like, here's the mature smart contract platform, build your dApp today. It's like, here's the, minimum viable thing we can deploy, and then now let's build the infrastructure together. And so now we have projects like Icon that allow you to build, smart contracts in a really easy to build way. We have projects like CDL CodeGen that allow you to generate Rust, WASM, JavaScript, JSON SDKs for your dApp without even writing a single line of code. Like, we have all these solutions coming out that are just making the smart contract experience much easier. And so the hope is that, this will really enable this passionate community to turn their passion into projects. And to a certain extent, that's also the vision of Milkomeda, being able to take these people that are passionate and block them, deploy something right away. And that's also the vision of Paima Studios, which is, if you're passionate about Cardano, you want to build a game Cardano, Paima Engine will allow you to, really build that out right away. And so, I think the main thing we're focusing on is how we enable the passionate community that we have.
Yeah, my hope or my thoughts right now is that these kind of the last few months, we've seen a bit of a shift, lots more options coming out there. You mentioned some of them, and we've seen contracts being able to be written in Python, and different developers now getting involved and contributing. And I think the last 3 months and the next 6 months, when we look back on this in time, I think these will be some of the most important for Cardano's development, bringing more options, because on the outside, there's still a lot of people think you have to know Haskell. That's the only way you can build on Cardano. But we're starting to see a shift in that in lots more ways. And even what you're doing with Paima Studios, allowing people to easily build games that can interact as well. So I think it really will be good for encouraging more dApps to either build on the L1 or build on layer 2s that come back and interact with the layer 1 as well. But anything else that you want to go through for DC Spark, or anything you'd like to see a focus on going forward as well?
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the stuff that I'm involved with personally beyond just DC Spark, a lot of it revolves around layer 2 solutions. I think this is one of the rare times in the blockchain space where we have a technology that really enables so much flexibility, so much new opportunities for developers to build the application they've always dreamed of building. And so, we're pushing it as much as we can from our side with Milkomeda, with our work for DC Spark directly. As I mentioned, we're working on ZK stuff as well to, push in that direction. But also, it needs help from the community as well. There's other people in the community as well, trying to do work on layer 2 projects. But if I were to change one thing about the Cardano roadmap, I would try and put more emphasis on this, because I think if we want to keep the Cardano vision, the Cardano architecture, which is that we have a layer 1 blockchain that's very slim, that's simple, that's secure, and then on top of this, we build extra computation layers that allow people to have the extra flexibility. The best way to get there, in my opinion, although sidechains are important and Hydra is important, I think roll-up type layer 2s are probably what fits the needs of the majority of projects that would come to the space. So DC Spark is more than happy to work with any other company. Obviously, there's companies we work with already. But if you're kind of a developer listening to this and you want to contribute, definitely reach out. We're always looking for more people to take a shovel, if you will, and help us build that vision.
Yeah, it's a really good shift that I've seen over the last few months. There seems to be more developers coming in, picking up their shovel and starting to bring out options there as well. So it's great to see the community side of that. And for you, I've been following you for years now at this stage, and you've always been one that has talked about the issues that lots of people mightn't have seen yet, got a bit of heat at times, but generally it's always come back that a few months down the line, people see, oh, it is actually an issue. So that's why I always like to get your perspective on what you see now, what needs action on it, because you are down, I suppose, down in the dirt. You know exactly what's going on under the hood, where lots of people, we have opinions on Cardano and what's going on and what we think and stuff, but it's only people like yourself that are right down there that understand all the ins and outs. So it's always good to take your perspective on board as well. But thanks very much.
I've been working on this project for 5 years at this point, so it's been a large part of my life. But always happy to contribute and then help others contribute the best way they can.
It was it Emergo on Yoroi, or maybe it wasn't Yoroi you started out with, but was it Emergo, and that was how you come into the Cardano space?
Yeah.
Okay. Look, if there's nothing else you want to cover in this, thanks very much for your time. Any questions people have, let me know down below. I can pass them on, or I'd like to make this more of a regular thing to get updates on what's going on, get your insights into the community as well, and what you're doing on the gaming side. Links, anything we should put down below, you can pass them on and I can add them there for people who want to get in contact or follow what's going on with Milkomeda, Paima, and everything you guys are building. If you're new, subscribe, as I say, comment questions, give the video a like, share it out to let others know what is going on with DC Spark, Milkomeda, and Cardano, Sidechains, Layer 1s, all like that as well. Thanks very much for watching, guys.